Hi! I'm Coco Ferosha.
And I am Isis Mirage.
And this is RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6, Episode 4 plus Untucked review, bitches.
So, for the mini challenge this week, the girls had to look at a picture and guess whether or not the bitch they're looking at is a drag queen or not.
Yeah.
So,
you know, it's kind of pointless, whatever, just to figure out two team captains. Like, you know what it is.
So, we're gonna kind of skip talking about the mini challenge because the really only funny part or of any interest to me personally was the Darien Lake talking about Michelle Visage titties. So, the challenge winners were Adored and her mother, she, Boots,
De La.
her, yes.
Her.
We're finally on episode 4. Remember there were 2 premieres, so now the fucking teams is mixing. Y'all notice?
Uh-huh.
Like, I didn't take that long. They did it the first time.
It's
I was like,
moving
fuck
and
it.
grooving. It's moving and grooving.
Yeah.
Rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling. Chance to World of Wonder for the fucking great editing they did with Adore and Courtney singing back and forth in the workroom.
Yes.
That was hilarious. That's the type of editing that I ain't mad at because it adds entertainment value.
Yeah. Gia's singing voice truly is just, I can't, like,
It's
Courtney
just,
like, trying to do a scale, that was my favorite, like.
Yes, they are the comedy queen.
Joslyn Fox reading Miss Bianca, so I'm about she gonna get her Butch Queen inspiration from her. Bitch.
You didn't know Joslyn was that bitch.
She really
I didn't know she was that bitch.
She really got me, and turns to her for real.
Okay, so when it came to rehearsing, Trinity was obviously having some problems, some issues. I feel like if you're having problems and stuff, you do need to address that with choreographers.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I felt like it was better for her, whether she came off rude or not. You gotta do what you gotta do, and it was she was just coming from a place like, I'm not trying to go out there and look the fool, so let me actually say, you know what, I don't get it. Can we run through this? Like, cause it's I'm like
right
now.
It is frustrating when you don't like understand something. You are strapped for time, and you don't want to be taking up other people's time. But it's like being caught in fucking class, and you feel embarrassed to put your hand up. Like, you can't be embarrassed to do that.
Right.
So I felt like she needed to do what she needed to do to make sure that she was right on that stage.
Yeah, and you know, it's like, I feel like they're being really hard on her through editing this year. I feel like she's getting a focus of a lot of negativity in terms of, like, I feel like it's moments where she doesn't really necessarily give it or to make her look worse. Like, I feel like there were like moments there in the choreography part that it was kind of like, when she was whispering to Bianca,
well, maybe they focused on those moments more than the others. But I get that. At the end of the day, they have to make a storyline within the show.
Yeah.
And I understand it's reality TV, it's fucking Hollywood and all it is, so I get that. Yeah. But, you know, maybe she could have been a little lighter in her approach.
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, I give tens to her for having the balls to say something and speak up when she felt like she didn't really know what to do. Yeah. And it is fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
So
it was time for the runway. Obviously Ru looked stunning.
She did.
I was living for that eye makeup, honey.
Yes.
Those colors.
The pinks and the blues.
Just everything.
You know, and the gown was sparkly, much more sparkly than anything you've ever owned. You know, shined that little bit brighter. Yes, as did Michelle Visage's sequins.
She's letting you have it with that side hair, honey. I love it.
Yes, Michelle is really going in this season. Like, I feel like she's like, okay, who's trying to do it? I'm gonna do it too. Like, she comes out there every week.
Because she toned it down after All Stars. She was like, everyone was like, Michelle, God damn it, you out here doing the most. And she like toned it down, and now she's bringing it back. I'm good.
She put it all the way back.
Bring it back, honey.
Yes.
So first up in Act 1 was Team Ben De La Creme.
Yeah.
Ben herself, I felt, for me, like, was so good. Like, her character really was, it seemed professional. So, like, what you'd see, like, on like that character, like, it was great.
Yeah, she really portrayed that, like, villain well.
Yeah, and it was so campy and so good.
If you look back at the fucking last acting challenge, you know, Ben De La Creme was really good and everything, but she kind of struggled a little bit throughout, like, rehearsals and all of that, like, when they were filming. So, like, it was really good to see that, like, she just went out there, it was like a live thing, you know, whatever, they had to go and do it, whatever fucked up, and she fucking ate that, I felt.
Yeah. Courtney signed her up for the Legally Blonde musical, bitch. Like, she is so good at what she does. It's so up her alley. Like, if you follow her on Facebook, she's been posting, like, all week, all these different fucking things that she's done, like, singing, like, musical theater kind of stuff, so... I mean, she ate that.
She did. I mean, the expectations were definitely high, but she met all of them.
Yeah.
It was so organic. It didn't feel like she was nervous. And it felt like, you know, just another night at the fucking job, you know? Like
Bianca and Trinity, I thought both did well.
Yeah.
They were obviously having this little beef or whatever before they went out on the main stage, but you couldn't clock them. They were right there, professionals, honey.
Yes, they were both on beat with each other and on time with each other.
Yeah.
And... you know, it definitely felt to me like Trinity, as much as she was struggling through the choreography and everything, the end result was really good, I felt.
Yeah, I thought it's like last time, she was really struggling, but I feel like her final performance, you can't really, you know, go in on her. I really didn't feel like she was like the worst one.
No, and in terms of like, you know, enunciating and everything, I didn't feel like it was enough to me where I was bothered. Like, it took, like, I really watched her this time around, like, to see, and I don't know, I felt like she did fucking good, really, and she was like in line with everything. She didn't stumble like she was worried she was going to.
Yeah.
And Bianca obviously fucking ate that. Like, you know, again, I feel like that's another bitch that your expectations for her are high, and sometimes she does really well, you kind of just brush it off because it's like, of course she's gonna do well, but you really have to appreciate, like, how good she really is, because she fucking did eat that shit up like it was a motherfucking chicken dinner.
Darien and Gia, I feel, were the weakest part of the group. I like where Darien was going. I liked her voice. She was giving very Roz from Monsters Inc. Very raw, you know? Very that. And I was like, okay. And she, like, pulled whatever she pulled out of her wig. And she was, like, trying to do it. But I almost feel like Gia outshined her a little bit just because she was so... you know, like,
I definitely felt like my attention was more with Gia in that moment.
Yeah, and Gia was like off. Like, she was some note, I don't know where she was, but like it didn't really matter. Like,
well, yeah, because it's not really a matter of who sung the best.
Yeah.
You know, it's about the... But I felt like Gia, you know, she went with doing the comedy queen character where you would assume she would do the pageant queen character, so I appreciate that she went for it and just like had fun with it at least.
For sure, yeah.
So Act 2, Team Adore, and you know, when Adore first came out and she was turned around, she had that like blonde hair with a black roots, but you couldn't really see the black roots at the time, and I was like, who the fuck is that with that big blonde hair and everything? And then she turned around and it was that gutter effect at the end that you thought it was, you know, Chrissy and everything, and then it was Courtney fucking Love.
Yeah.
I live for that.
Yeah.
Yes, Adore.
Yeah. She ate that for me. Like, she also really, really killed it. I thought the way she was singing it was perfect. Like, she'd gone bad. It was Courtney gone bad. Like, it was like...
What? The blonde hair with the... Yes!
It was good. It was really, really good. I really liked it.
Yeah, I felt like it was cute. I must say, for me, I feel like I almost felt a little bit like Adore was kind of nervous.
Definitely nervous and a little bit shaky and a little bit like...
Yeah.
But there was a lot of pressure.
But you didn't need it because you was good.
Yeah, you were good, bitch.
It was the good.
Yeah. Milk to me was a bit confusing because I was a bit lost on who her character was supposed to be. Like, I felt like there was no explanation.
Right.
Like, you had the backup girls, you had the pageant queens, you had the comedy queens, you had the fishy queens, good and bad. But then Milk was what? Like some old lady?
Well, I guess she meant to be the villain?
No. Oh.
No. Huh? I don't know. I don't know who she was.
She wasn't meant to be the shady queen older. Was she? No. You see, I'm just confused.
Yeah, wait, hold up. No, she must have had to be the shady queen older because if you think about it, Ben De La Creme was like a leopard bitch and Milk was like, had cat ears one.
Right.
So that can't be like...
Okay, but then why was she so much older?
I don't know, but regardless, because she didn't drink the fish oil. Maybe. I don't know. But like, yes, the show could have explained this a bit more. I guess
she was okay. You know, I was just kind of thrown. I was like, okay, who is this meant to be? She's singing about like, you know, everything. But I was like, okay, yeah, she was okay.
But yes, I actually caught my life with Milk because at first I was like, whatever, and then she started singing and I was like, she's singing out here like she finna win like an award, like, yes, all the girls, and it was so off, and I'm like, you better sing, Milk.
She tried.
Let them hear that voice, let them hear that tone, you know, like, I was like, a little bit, I was into it.
April definitely did not do that. Bless her heart, like, but it was just so off.
It seemed like
and
April
I know you were saying this ain't like the best singer, but like that.
No, because it wasn't about being the best singer, but it was like the rhythm, the time, everything. It felt like she got all the critique while she was rehearsing, and then when she got on stage, she was like, I don't know. Yeah. And just kind of did whatever.
Yeah, it's just not her gig at all.
Yeah, and it seemed like Laganja and Joslyn really had to like put it all back together every time April came in. It was like they had to save it.
Yeah. I mean, Jocelyn, was she that butch? No. But I mean, I felt she kind of owned it. I would have liked to see her more as the big girl. I felt like she was...
Yeah, she wasn't really butch, was she?
No.
Yeah, I guess Jocelyn didn't really do the butch thing, but because what she did was done well, it was like,
okay.
Whatever.
Like, and Laganja was okay as well. Like.
Yeah, like, they did well. I felt like it was more so that they didn't really have that big of a part.
Yeah.
But I felt like you gotta give them both 10s for the fact that they were definitely the glue that stuck it back together every time April fucked it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even though they didn't have that many lines or whatever, that big of a moment separately, like, I feel like they really did a lot to, like, rein it back in.
Yes.
And, like, keep the show going. So first up on the runway was Bianca Del Rio.
Yes.
Golden goddess in her gowns with the feathers.
Yeah.
I felt like it was very cohesive, a little bit campy, still glamorous, still cute.
Campy glam, definitely campy glam.
Yes.
Exclamation point.
On the nose.
Yeah, I thought the hair looked good.
She styles hair pretty beautifully, right?
She
like
does. She's always, and she's unspookable with her lace front, honey. Unspookable. Yeah, I haven't got that much to say, honestly, because she's always so good at what she does. Like, and she delivers it, and I get it every time. And
I do appreciate a girl that brings a little extra, you know, a little something to throw around, throw over your shoulder, you know.
A little fur.
Yes. Very that.
Next up was Trinity K. Bonet, giving you very continental, pageant, Trinity going to an award show, like, it's what I expect her to wear.
Very red carpet.
Yeah, the hair was good, the makeup was good.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, the color on her skin tone, again, beautiful. Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that Trinity as a 22-year-old is able to read that little bit older, because she's not a young bitch that's doing like some, you know, young fishy, which isn't to say that, you know, young fishy is a bad thing, but she's really able to transform herself into like a woman.
Yeah.
Like, do y'all get that? Because I still get that with Trinity. Like, she really reads like woman. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Doing it.
Yes. Next up was Darien Lake, and you know, not the first time we've seen a bitch come out here and do something celebrity inspired, especially for like an event, award show, whatever, inspired runway.
Yeah.
And she did Adele down and gorgeous.
Yeah, really super pretty. I thought the dress was beautiful. The cut was so flattering, like on her boobies, and it just like, you know, because it's hard to get a shape, like when you're doing a dress, like, you know, it can go either way, but she pulled it out, like, it looks so good, went down to the floor. I wasn't the hugest fan of the hair itself. I would have liked something a little bigger, but...
You know, that's weird that you say that, because I was gonna say that I felt like for doing hair that wasn't necessarily, like, what you would think is maybe too, like, disproportionate. I actually thought it worked really well, because it was slick back and everything.
Yeah, no, it did look good. It wasn't necessarily a proportion issue. I just would have maybe liked to see that a little bit, you know.
But you know, Darien was able this week, I feel, a little bit to redeem herself for the first runway, because it was a green sequence effect.
Yeah.
You know, and she did it all the way right.
Yeah, that's it. Next up is Gia Gunn. Once again, another continental girl in evening gown category. Like, hair did, makeup did, gown was gorgeous, the color was beautiful, and the stones, and
again, a lot of talent, because you get a girl this young, and okay, maybe they can have a team around them and everything, but once, you know, there's a lot of people out there that you can teach them everything there is to know, and they don't get it.
Right.
Gia gets it. I feel like Gia definitely has that talent and that ability to, like, you know, absorb these things and do it at her own shit, and like to sit there doing all that pageant era, because you know, you get bitches at Continental, you got like a team and stuff, like this bitch look Continental, she did this shit all on her own. So fuck.
Tens.
I did love the nude, you know, sort of cream color choice in the gown. I felt like everything was gorgeous, the makeup, like, you know, very put together. More pageant than award show, I guess. But for a lot of these girls, I would assume you think award show is like freaking out the gown. You know?
Yeah, any excuse.
Yes. Next up was Ben De La Creme.
I wasn't a huge fan of the shoulder piece, but then I felt like it was a little boring without it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was costumey. It wasn't so much award show.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite dress. It was. I would have maybe liked to see something a little more glamorous.
Yeah,
not that you know to say she doesn't look glamorous, you know, whatever. It just wasn't my favorite kind of dress or like effect that she was giving, you know.
Yeah, I felt like I've seen Ben De La Creme do better in general. I guess it just, you know, was neither here nor there for us personally this week. I'm sure there's people out there that love it because it was well executed. Yeah, at the end of the day. And you know, speaking about award shows and everything, I don't really know within a drag competition how much you need to like stick to like being like a award show without falling into boring.
Yeah, I mean, if you do something that's not considered award show, they're probably gonna read you, but then milk is safe, and I wouldn't consider that award show in any sense of the word.
Well, that's the thing, because I can critique Ben De La Creme about being more costumey than like a award show, but then at the end of the day, it's really about your final effect and, you know, whether or not I feel like that's my judge or whether it was done well, and Ben De La Creme definitely did it well.
Yeah. Next up was Courtney Act. I loved it this week. So bubblegum, soft and pink. Like, she's everything to me. Like, that hair was beautiful. The color was sitting on her.
That salmon pink.
Yeah, and then the dress to match, and I loved it. I really did. I thought she did that.
As much as people say that Courtney Act isn't drag enough, fucking hate that phrase. But anyway, you know, she got a award show, which is something that you would think she'd probably go very, you know, regular, day look, you know, whatever, and she did something different.
It was so believable to me that would be Courtney on a red carpet. It looked like Courtney on a red carpet. I could see her on a red carpet.
Very her, and it would catch your eye. It's like, who is that bitch with a fucking flamingo pink hair? Oh yes. Yeah. I love like the idea of doing something that would be regular and putting like a twist on it, like the fact that you got this glamorous Hollywood hair in pink. Like that's pussy to me. Yeah. That being said, the use of the word pussy, that shit right there, that is pussy. Yeah. So, next up on the runway was Laganja Estranja. Yeah. And I felt like, again, I wasn't expecting Laganja to have shit like this. Yeah. So I was impressed by that. I felt like the gown was gorgeous. Yeah, beautiful gown. The fucking feather hat headpiece was over. Like, I felt like it was definitely cohesive. And like, I don't, like, you'd think that that dress came with a hat to me. Yeah. Like, it was a total look. And then the straight hair, it was very Alyssa Edwards, your mother, when she did her mermaid dress, you know, with the fucking, you know, J. Julie moment. Yes. And Untucked, like, very that look. I felt like for me, like, I just felt shade-free. The makeup let it down a little bit. Yeah. I don't like to say that because I know a lot of y'all out there, maybe not you directly, but I know a lot of y'all out there with the nails are very hateful and very hurtful and very offensive. So I don't really, like, a lot of y'all say like, y'all too nice. Okay, well the deal fucking is though, that is somebody within the fucking community who actually gives a fuck about, like, you know, the positivity and, you know, breaking down all this fucking shit that's going on within this community. I don't like to come out here and say some shit about, like, say for example somebody's makeup, because I know that 1,000 people gonna run with it and say, oh yeah, good because this, and I don't want to add to that.
Yeah.
But I also want to be honest.
Yeah.
In the review.
Definitely in our critiques, and for it definitely for me too. The makeup did let it down. I would love just to see her. I don't know, like because I can't pinpoint one thing.
You can't force her to.
No, of course not. Of course not. I just would like to see her makeup
improve a little bit. Yeah, you know, it's a shame, like, because you seem to have like great shit and stuff, and like for this week in particular, like it let it down a little bit.
Yeah, because everything else is so like
good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
So the focus goes to the face, you know.
Yeah, but that being said, don't run with that.
Next up was Miss April Carrion. I loved the dress. It was beautiful. I loved that kind of lacy and white and applique kind of moments with the, you know, skin moment too. It's beautiful. I thought the hair color choice was perfect. You know, they read her on the makeup about her forehead like being too dark, and I don't know exactly what she did. It seemed like she tried to make it, you know, blend in with the wig or whatever. Maybe she was in different lighting.
Wig?
Maybe she was at April in a way. No, but
true.
But yeah, I think you know, it was just, it's not. I don't think it's. I think it was just she was kind of in different lighting and it looked weird or whatever on stage.
Yeah, but regardless, it was too dark though.
It was definitely too dark, but she's so beautiful.
But everything else was good though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so but again, you gotta fucking.
It's the obvious thing. You gotta say, okay, the makeup.
To make the bitch do better. Not that they ain't great at what they do, but you on Drag Race and shit, you wanna learn some shit while you're here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But in terms of April's effect and everything, like, it was so pussy. Like, I felt like the hair was perfect for the gown and everything. It was like, she did Puerto Rico all the way proud with that look, let me say that.
Yes. Next up was Joslyn Fox. I thought she looked good, but it was a little bit princess. A little bit like, if it's gonna be princess, take me to princess. Take me to out motherfucking here with a motherfucking, you know, organza and everything.
I see where she was going with it.
I definitely see where she was going with it, but it's a little bit like boring Belle to me, like very like princess. Like I wanted a little more like edge, a little more.
I get that.
Modernism or fashion or something.
That's the thing. I felt like she did do like a very like similar silhouette, I guess, to like award show girls, like the young girls and everything. But I feel like yes, it's definitely that it read more to Disney rather than like fashion.
Yeah.
You know, like it didn't have that kind of.
Yeah, and then the hair was okay, but I wasn't in love. I don't even know what she did with it, but I wasn't in love with it, and it was just so for me this week. I would love to see a little more, you know, edge and
yeah, definitely a little more edge, a little more like high fashion, something.
Yeah.
So next up was what the fuck we talking on? Next up was Milk, or as Nadine Coyle would say, Molk. I didn't feel like it was necessarily a award show.
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that I guess that's the thing with Milk, is that she really make you think, okay, well, the bitch could be at a fucking award show.
Yeah.
You know, like, if the bitch that crazy.
That's what Milk would do, like, so
again. Now, in terms of the whole effect, I live.
Yeah. I feel like, just to clarify that point, I feel like, though, if someone else would have done something that strayed from red carpet, Gia Gunn does, like, I don't know, rhinestone corset or something, and she came out and she said this is what Gia would do at the red carpet, they'd be like, do you know what I mean?
But again, that's the thing that we talked about last season, when nobody has your gig and like something that they would read you for, they wouldn't be able to read on somebody else because they don't have that.
Yeah.
And it's just a completely different circumstance. Like, in terms of like judging these girls, you want to judge them fairly, but you also have to judge them individually and kind of, not personally, but within their situation, because it varies. It really does vary in terms of like their particular shit, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anyways, I felt like Milk really just... I live for a fucking character like that, a bitch like that, like pregnant, kind of trashy, long nails.
White trash. The nails were great. I wasn't the hugest fan of the socks. I get why she did the socks.
If that look didn't have socks for me, I'm with it. But with the socks, you had the nerve to come out on RuPaul's Drag Race with little red socks on.
Red socks on. Okay. Alright, Milk. Come on.
And like the high slit on both sides.
Yeah.
Pregnant with the nails, pregnant with the nails, like just that.
There's
just
something
a baby
about
bump
Mary hair.
being held with those nails.
For me this week though with Milk, I will say that her lip line is a little bit, like it doesn't immediately register in my mind that it's a lip. Does that make sense? Like you just see it as like lines on her face and it looked like a little Gomez mustache. So I was
Not that she wouldn't do that anyway.
Not that she wouldn't do that anyway, bitch. Work your Gomez mustache. But I would like it to read a little more of a lip. Maybe some more, like light and dark colors and things to give it depth.
I mean, for me, really, at the end of the day with Milk, I feel like the reason I really enjoy what she's doing is because she does shit on the runway that I would have never thought nobody would have had the nerve to do. Like, who the fuck would have ever thought that a bitch would come out on Drag Race pregnant when it wasn't a pregnant challenge?
Yeah.
With just red socks on with these fucking shoes, like it's ridiculous, and you have to take it in, like take it in, bitch.
Yeah. Next up was Miss Adore.
Adore.
I definitely wish the dress would have been a little longer, and I definitely wish that her waist would have been a little more snatched in. You know what I mean? Just to give that little teensy, just a little bit more waist definition and a little more hourglass, and it would have made it a little better. And the length for me too is just I can't. I don't know. I wish she would have just a little bit longer, like down to the floor, and it would have been a different thing. You know.
I feel like a lot of that has to do with Adore, in particular, being a younger queen who doesn't necessarily, in my mind, because I don't know Adore like that, so I don't know her situation. But in my mind, I don't feel like has like necessarily a team of people really helping her.
She does her own thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like she really struggles in that way of being a newer bitch on the scene who really does need that time to build up her closet.
Yeah.
You know? It's a fucking reality.
Yeah.
And that's not to say she don't have good shit.
Yeah.
I feel like her effect, this is the thing, her effect was pussy to me and what she was going for, and everything was beat and the hair was done. So for me, I can forgive having that disadvantage a little bit because I see where you're going with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How many times have you been watching like a reality TV show and like, for example, a bitch don't show up for the photo shoot but they stay over another bitch because their body of work is better or because they photograph better. I feel like that's the same with Adore. Maybe she doesn't necessarily have the best like shit for the runway.
Yeah.
But I feel like her effect is in the right place and she's doing something pussy.
Yeah.
And you want to see more of that, more of her in general.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so when it comes to Trinity, I feel a little bit with the critique and everything, that's her final hurdle at this point, is being able to take the critique and not getting defensive and stuff.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same that's showing up with Bianca, and Bianca just a lot of the time coming from a place, and we all know Bianca has a way, but she also needs to be definitely more open to receiving critique. And you know, it'll come, I think, with time, and especially from watching herself back.
And that definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But that's, again, in my opinion, her final hurdle. She is good everywhere else. Once you have that, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only really thing you need to get together. And you set, bitch.
Yeah. I definitely feel like she didn't necessarily need to be in the bottom two, but she kind of let herself be in the bottom two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It didn't help at all for anyone to plead for her case, like, after, that.
Darien was another one that I felt let herself down a little bit within the,
critiques.
Yeah, like...
And just making excuses, girl, it's never cute.
A
just
little
own
bit.
your shit, and it never helps. So the winner of this week's challenge was Courtney Act. Rightly so. She ate that. She owned that. The bottom two this week were Miss Trinity K. Bonet and Miss April Carrion.
So I was definitely pleased with the song choice this week.
Yes.
I'm Every Woman by Miss Shaka Khan.
Yes.
Yes, it was everything. Like the minute the fucking music hit, I was like, yes, Rude, that's it, mother.
Yeah, it was, they both slayed.
They
and
did.
They both were really hungry to stay there.
They
were really willing to perform. I think Trinity at this point was like, okay, like, y'all gave me acting challenge, musical challenge, just ain't my shit. Let me show you what Trinity does. Like, let me perform.
Like, she gave you Trinity.
Yeah.
And April, like I was saying even the first time I watched it, I was like, fuck, I live for the fact that April is the second time lip syncing, and like you can tell like she hit that fucking stage twice, and both times she's been hungry for it. Like,
yeah,
I
and
feel
she's
like,
not willing to give up, and
yeah,
it doesn't matter if she gets messy or
if she, and I live for, yes, get a little messy, girl, yes. The fact that she's just, you know, putting her fucking dress up and throwing those arms back, like, you know, that's a lot to do in heels. Like, a bitch could fall real quick doing that shit. But she don't care, like, she really went for it.
Yeah.
Although, you know, I felt like Trinity just, that was her moment.
Yeah,
like,
it was
undeniable.
Yeah, and she walked down the stairs, and she sat for a second, and she paused and let the background singers go, and then she turned and she hit it, and I said, yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
That's it.
So, yeah, I'm really excited to see April go, like, too soon.
Way too soon.
They shoved them acting and musical challenges right at the beginning, honey. Right at the beginning, so it's like these girls had to survive it.
It's a big shame because I feel like fuck the fucking looks that April would have fucking gave you down the runway, and now we ain't gonna be able to see it. Like, I'm mad. I'm pressed because I know that shit would have been so over.
For real. So, moving on to the Untucked, the Safe Girls were talking about, you know, April and stuff, and they thought that she was going to be in the bottom two. And then Bianca brought up Trinity, talking about how she's, like, constantly missing home and constantly talking about it. And I think a couple of girls were, like, over it or whatever. And I mean, it's fair enough to say that you knew this coming into it, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be any easier, especially since she's such a close-knit family person. But,
and
you know,
she's so young, but again, Bianca kind of takes that into account in saying that the, you know, age gap really does make a difference on the situation.
For sure. Like, it's definitely Trinity is not as cool under pressure as Bianca is, you know?
Yeah,
and she takes things more to heart when they're said to her. You know?
I feel like Bianca is very much like her head's in the game and she's aware of that. Like, I feel like it's not necessarily like a misinterpretation on her side. I feel like Bianca is completely aware of the fact that she's kind of being the way that she is, and she's open to saying, look, I'm in a competition and I ain't really got time for the bullshit. But then at the same time, I feel like she comes from like a place of like love, but it's like tough love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she's telling Trinity, like, you gotta keep your head in the game, bitch. Yeah. But she ain't saying it so softly. But that's just not Bianca, especially not within this competition.
Yeah, of course.
I definitely feel like the case would be different if they were outside of competition and just friends, and, you know, she was missing her friends, Bianca would totally be there for her. But the fact that they're in a competition, and she's like, you know, this is what we signed up for, it's like, she's basically saying, we don't have time for this, you don't have time for this, we gotta keep it moving. Yeah. You know, whereas I feel like Trinity more doesn't really understand why she can't talk about that and make those like bonds and stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not to say that Bianca doesn't want to do that, but that I feel like
she's in the game.
She's a little bit too into it most of the time. Like, she rather save that stuff one day in the hotel or something.
For sure.
Okay, so when it comes to the whole situation between Gia and Milk, first of all, I want to say, Joslyn, you hit the nail on the fucking head right where we were coming from, saying that it's very hodgepodge, organized chaos when it comes to Milk's look. It is that because it's like, okay, it's chaos, but it's organized. Like,
there's a point, there's a story, there's a you know, thing.
Definitely, completely. So I feel like it's really cool to see that, like, Joslyn, as much as she like sticks to her type of drag or whatever.
Yeah, and you'd think like because
you
of
would
her
assume
aesthetic that she wouldn't get it, but she does completely.
But she does, and it's really cool to see somebody like that just being so open to the idea.
I mean, for starters, Gia didn't need to be jumping in to like the compliment was on the way from Joslyn to fucking Milk, and Gia went boop and swatted it out the way. Like, it was like, let her have the compliment.
And when because she said it was organized chaos, Gia reacted as if that was meant to be a read, but that wasn't a read. Like, she really pulls it all together, and I feel like that's where she was coming from.
Yeah.
So Gia made the remark that, you know, drag means dress this girl, you know, and I just feel like that's so old school. Like, we ain't doing the old school no more.
It's so
We're
like
in 2014 right now.
Lines and boxes on people's artistic expressions and saying, well, actually, you can't define the way you express yourself as this because it's supposed to mean this. To say that she's not like giving a feminine character just shows your sort of close-mindedness when it comes to a concept of femininity, because in my mind she's feminine. That's a feminine...
Well, that's another point. Thank you. Exactly. It is feminine, and you need to be able to see femininity in all different types of people, characters, drag.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, the bitch came out pregnant. How much more femininity do you want?
Yeah. Well, she's feminine. She's... I don't know.
And even if she wasn't, you can still create something artistically over that may not necessarily be feminine, but uses the skills within drag to create, you know?
Yeah. I feel like she just needs to broaden her, you know, definition of femininity and what that is, and not be so focused on something being a girl. It can be an alien. It can be, you know, whatever you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be male or female.
You came out the other night, right, with fucking octopus tentacles on your head, and you know, some could say that that's not necessarily feminine, and you kind of beat Mug and everything, but take that away and what do you got? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, having boobs, or like tucked, or like long hair, or whatever, that doesn't define femininity.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like it's another case of Gia Gunn getting off the show and looking back and being like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe that wasn't the right way to go about it.
The energy of everyone else is so distant from her energy and from her, like, oh yeah, well you should have been right on that. There was no reason for her to like switch on Joslyn, like, because...
But just trying to stand up for somebody else.
Yeah, like, it's just a bit, she just came off like a bit like pressed, like for no reason, like, girl, like, why are you so like trying to cut and juke everybody, like...
It's drama, and it's drama for the sake of TV, and I get that, and I get, you know, getting the camera time and all that stuff, and I feel like you probably were heated genuinely in the moment. I just feel like, you know, y'all could talk about so many other things, and even you can get into it without having to get into it and twisting.
Yeah.
Joslyn Fox, you know what, bitch? I fucks with you. I'll tell you why I fucks with you. I fucks with you because you a bitch, not in your own fucking lane, doing your own shit, minding your own fucking business, until some shit comes up that you feel in your heart you need to fucking stand up for.
Yeah.
And you did that in that moment.
Completely.
You seem like the type of bitch to me that in school would have stood up for the people that getting picked on. I fucks with that, and I fucks with you, Joslyn Fox, for fucking having that belief in how you feel and expressing it in a way that doesn't make you look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, that was very adult of you. You handled that like a real ass bitch.
Yeah.
Joslyn Fox was able to make her point without having to be hurtful, offensive, without insulting, without fucking shade, without fucking reading a bitch like it was real talk diva time. Genuinely, because I felt like she was like, kind of, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, she felt like
I definitely respect her for that, for sure. I definitely felt like, I mean, obviously it's edited or whatever, but Milk could have, you know, backed her up a little bit more, because Joslyn out of nowhere sort of had her back, and it kind of turned to Joslyn getting red, and Milk kind of just didn't say much, and I guess she didn't want to, like, you know, give nothing to her, whatever the case may be. I get it, but like, you should have stood up for her a little bit more.
I will say this though, it is nice to see that after like whatever went down, because it wasn't all that serious. I felt like more it felt serious because Joe was so turned up about it, and I get it's not necessarily personal what they're saying, but you know, I feel like it's our fucking duty to like speak about like this shit.
Situations and moments.
And you know...
It's the review.
Exactly, yeah. But you know, it was cool that it was able to kind of like brush it aside and move on to the gold room and, you know, Kiki and all that good shit. So it was time for Laganja to get her message from her parents, and you know, I feel like I totally identify with her situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember correctly, but when she did like her audition video online, whatever, I believe you moved from your parents, right, and you got an apartment or something with your friend, you started doing the drags and stuff. Your parents saying, you know, we don't call that much. We know how that fucking is. We did the same thing. Moved up out that bitch, moved somewhere else, started doing drag.
Yeah.
You know, for a while it was kind of the same thing. I didn't hear that often from my mom and stuff. So I get it, and it's fucking hard, and you're doing it, and you want to post drag race.
It's so good that they, you know, decided to make that video.
Yeah.
And show their full support, and it was really, really good. I feel like the girls like asked her about it and stuff, and then it went on to that whole moment, and I just felt like, you know, I felt like she got her time to speak about it.
It was a little bit confusing because after the message, Bianca was really cool about it. Like, she was asking her questions about it and like being supportive, I felt like, and then she just tried to like be Bianca and rein it in and say something
and just
funny.
lighten the mood.
Yeah.
I mean, for anyone to think, I mean, I don't know why she felt like
it was like serious.
Yeah,
like, why
so
she
vulnerable.
Took it as, like,
because it just seems so obvious. Obviously, we're here watching it, right? But it seems so obvious that Bianca was just trying to lighten the mood and did not have like a bad motherfucking bone in her body.
In that moment, no.
People just get her humor twisted, and I guess she must have thought that at the time, you know, it was that she was trying to like.
She felt like it was inappropriate, I guess. But the thing is that she was coming from a place of positivity and just trying to, you know, lighten the situation. Not that the situation was that, but I think, you know, it's hard to sit there with somebody crying and stuff and you want to make them laugh and stuff. I mean, laughter's the best fucking medicine. Right. I feel that's where Bianca was coming from.
For sure.
I actually felt a little bit like it was strange to me to like, I didn't understand why Laganja felt like that was so much her moment, because it was actually really cool to get that message from your parents and then use that as like a platform to speak about everybody else's situation, and it would have been really cool for her to actually
just to relate to everyone.
That might have made you feel better too, is to like actually hear that other people identify with you, you know, and use the moment that you got to express how they feel about the situation to get you to see that, like, you know, better things will come, or acceptance or whatever. So I was a little thrown.
I just feel like she got like the whole thing kind of twisted. Like, why would you not want them to have a moment where they speak about their families? That's what it came across like she didn't want. Like, it was just about her.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, that's
a little
like,
confused.
It's
like,
a good door opener for that.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like she got the whole thing twisted.
A little bit, yeah. So, you know, Adore started getting into how she mentioned milk on the runway, because again, I feel like Adore feels a little bit when she's asked if she says something about someone, she has to let that person know directly.
Yeah.
I feel like her approach is a little strong.
Yeah.
It's a little like, I said you. It's like, okay. But, you know, milk was a little bit too much in the Untucked exclusive.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like, it felt like she didn't leave room for Adore to have her own feelings. She was like, oh, I could see that you were feeling this way. No, I could see it. It's like, well, maybe she fucking wasn't. But, like, it's not like she was pushing it on her a little bit to, like, shift the blame from herself. Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. These hoes go on to another week. We shall see how their relationship turns out, honey.
Yeah.
Like we said before, sad to see April go, because all her runway looks are fierce puñeta, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I really would have liked to see more of what she would deliver, because she's a runway girl.
Yes, and she makes gorgeous shit.
Yeah. So I'm definitely sad to see her go. And that brings us to the end of our review, bitches. Super excited for next week's Snatch Game. Check the previews. Check the motherfucking first 10 minutes, because that shit is good. Super excited to see a lot of these girls.
Yeah.
A lot of these girls.
A lot, yeah.
So, yeah. See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.